one of team, one of 7-on-7 full speed, and the rest was really jog through, if you will. So, but for what we asked him to do, it went well. So, go ahead.
Same plan today, or can you?
Yeah, same plan today. It'll be 15 minutes longer, but it'll just be, we'll get them a little bit more individual, a little bit more group, and then a couple more team reps. But for the most part, it's the same style of practice. Then it'll change tomorrow. It begins to change.
Yeah, we saw Will listed as a cornerback, Iffy listed as a safety. We saw him kind of play that yesterday. Is that a permanent thing, or do you still see them kind of as hybrid players, or kind of what's the plan for those two?
Yeah, guys? I think we feel pretty good about keeping Will outside right now and just letting him compete out there, knowing that if we ever need him in the back end, he can do that. And so let him continue to grow at corner. Iffy, we want to see what he can do at safety, knowing that he can swing back to corner. So Iffy is a little bit more in play in both spots, but we certainly would like to come out of this camp and see if Iffy can play some safety, essentially. Just trying to find the best fit for our guys and for what we have on the roster.
Do you think Will's skills translate better outside, or suit him better to play out there?
Well, I would tell you this: because he's big, he's strong, he's physical, he can run. He's got a chance, and you tell him to get out there and compete and hem a guy up and play technique. He's pretty good, And so we just sometimes when you take a little bit off a guy's plate, man, they can really grow, and then. In the meantime, now that he's played nickel, he's played safety, and now if he can excel at corner and get better, man, you got a versatile guy that, he's a jack of all trades, and now he can play multiple spots on top of special teams when he goes to the game. I mean, that's an asset.
Did you give him, particular homework or guys to watch during the offseason just to, because obviously he jumped into cornerback in the middle of last season, but the techniques you have to play in that, are learned traits. Did you give him homework, or training suggestions this offseason?
Me personally, I did not. Now, I know that AP has worked with him and has given him guys to look at and things that'll help him technique-wise, So Aubrey's been all over that with him. And look, to Will's credit, Will's all over it. Will's just like, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? And do I have a chance? And that's all you can ask for. I mean, he just goes to work. So the fact that he's open-minded and he puts his head down and goes to work is a credit to him. And look, let's see where he can go. I mean, let's see where he can take it. And, and if it doesn't work out there, we can always move him to nickel. We can move him back to safety. But we kind of like what he does out there. We like what he did at the end of last year at corner.
Another player did some good things into last year, Julian Okwara, and obviously he looks like he could have an even more prominent role in your defense this fall. Just how does he fit into the new defense, and what do you think of sort of where he is in year 3?
Yeah, well, there again, he a lot of the things that really showed up with J.O. last year was kind of rush oriented, third down oriented. We put him in that kind of what we call our X spot on defense, and so he's kind of that, if you will, linebacker, that dime linebacker who can rush, and we know he can cover a little bit. He's a good athlete, but that's where we really feel like it starts for him. That's where he's really got to excel, and then in the meantime, we're in base. He needs to be able to get better at the Sam linebacker, taking on blocks, attacking on the perimeter, certainly rushing from when we ask him to go, and it's base and it's run action. The offense is giving him run action, man. That transition from attacking run to now I got to rush the quarterback. Little things like that. Something that Charles really excelled at last year, and that'll be the next step for him. And then it's just, look, he made steps last year. He made strides, and he needs to do it again this year, and he knows that, and if he can make another stride, another step like he did last year, then we're going to be on the right track. He's going to be on the right track and help us.
There's been emphasis on getting, more athletic, more speed in your front seven since you've gotten here, with Penasini kind of retiring. It's kind of a light front seven. I don't think you have many linebackers over 240, outside of Aleem, defensive linemen, not too many over 300 pounds. So what challenges, if any, does that present in the modern game, particularly defending the run?
Yeah, I think that, look, it goes without saying, you better be disruptive then. We got to hit these gaps. We got to hit the blocks. We can't allow ourselves to get road graded. Now, I would tell you this, I do think that we may need a little bit more girth up front. I wouldn't say that we're not looking for that or won't be, or, you guys saw that we signed Bugs. It's a hell of a name. I like it, but he did a good job. We signed him. He came out here, worked out for us, helped pass the conditioning test. Which was good. I mean, we had just worked him out, so that's good. So he helps us a little bit there. But yeah, it's if you're not careful and you don't have enough in there, I mean that's what Penasini was. He could anchor in there now, and he could swallow up the blocks, and he could run the line of scrimmage a little bit. And between he and Aleem, it was hard to run in the middle. So yeah, I mean that'll always be in the back of our mind. It's something that we got to be aware of. And I think, look, Aleem continues to grow. There's things he does in there. Look, Levi's got to be able to hold up in there too now. And there'll be some stuff he's going to have to play in there. He may have to play the nose or the shade. As well, if need be. But the good news is he's a big man, he's explosive, and he just continues to grow, work on his technique. That'll help us. But I guess let me go back to answer it's really what I said the first time. Man, we got to hit the blocks. You have to. If we're laid off the ball or we're not explosive, we're not taking it to the double teams, we're going to be in trouble. And that's a point of emphasis. Wash does a great job with those guys. It's kind of the essence of the defense.
Dan, we saw a lot of Aiden Hutchinson yesterday with the ones. Will that be the plan moving forward through training camp? And what are your early expectations for his first couple weeks here?
Yeah, I mean, we start him out in base at the rush end over there, and let him do some of that, and sub defense, get him in there and keep mixing him, just let him grow, and he proves to be what we think he can. Then yeah, he probably just sits in there with the ones, and until he needs a blow or a rotation or whatever. But there again, he's got to prove it. He got to prove he can do it consistently, and that he is the right guy to be in there right now. But he's ready for it.
How tight is your relationship with?
I'll get you next.
How tight is your relationship with Ben becoming? Are you at the point where you're, completing each other's sentences, or how's that going?
No, I would say it's good. We looked in each other's eyes yesterday. Listen, I've known Ben a long time, and there again, when I was at Miami, he was a young coach, and he really helped me out when I was young. Like, I had him in my room, and so he was kind of, in a sense, kind of my assistant a little bit. So I've known him for a long time. I know what he's about. I know how he thinks, and I knew early when I met him as a very young coach that there was something about him. He was special, He's a bright guy, and he picks things up fast. He's an ex-quarterback. He's coached on multiple levels, and so what I'd say is I feel real good about that relationship, and he knows what I'm looking for. We're in constant communication, and he's been around me long enough to where he doesn't necessarily have to ask me all the time what I'm looking for. He will, but he's got a real good feel of what I'm looking for. We're on the same page.
Get some clear. Oh, sorry. You've mentioned recently this idea of the same old lines and embracing it and kind of turning it on its head. I'm curious, when did you first sort of understand that experience? Was it when you played here?
Yes.
And does that?
I knew that when I signed here as a player. And for me, it was one of the reasons I wanted to sign here, is because, man, who doesn't want to come here and change that, to be part of that team that turns it around? Like, I think that's a motivating factor. And so I think for all of us, coaches, players, am I answering your question? I cut you off. Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it's a motivating factor, I mean, look, we could go round and round in this, and you guys have lived it, but I think, you got to have, once you've gone through a great suffering, if you will, as it pertains to sports and Lions football, then, man, that's when there's a great triumph. And to be a part of that and to be able to help it become that is, man, that's something special. I mean, that is special. So, yeah, I think that motivates all of us a little bit here.
Yeah, just wanted clarification on Josh Pascal. Did he end up having surgery on the hernia?
Yes, he did.
When was that?
Can't give you an exact date. It was in spring, late spring, summer, early summer. You want an exact date? Let me go up there. Okay.
Any long-term concerns with Kabinda or Moore, those guys laying
No. He's working through a couple of things he had with his ankles, so we just want to be smart with him.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.